What's good? Is Casper. Today's video, I'm gonna be talking about the movie Bad Boys Ride or Die. Movie Bad Boys Ride or Die is a 2024 film. It's rated R and it's an hour and 55 minutes. Directed by Adil Abri and Bilall Fallah. These directors, not too familiar with their work, but they actually worked on the Bad Boys for Life movie. I remember watching that movie in the theaters. Hilarious because my boy ended up actually falling asleep in that movie. It felt like it was a rushed movie, but I do need to rewatch that movie. With this new movie, Bad Boys Ride or Die, I ended up going to the movies and watching this movie where the seats move with the action, the seats move with a lot of the sound effects, and with the camera direction, the seats were just moving just in general. With the seats moving, I recommend watching a movie that actually has the flow just like the new Bad Boys movie. That's one of the things that attracted me and got me more into this movie, was because the seats were moving. After watching this movie, I was thinking about like the viewers who just want to just watch this movie standard, you know, the normal movie watch. Still gonna have a good time. Coming out of the movie, there was literally a lot of moments that shocked me, surprised me, took me off guard, and was one of those happy moments that you're just like, wow, didn't expect that to happen. So I'm gonna try my best to just bring as much moments that literally surprised me throughout this movie. We got Will Smith and Martin Lawrence back, you know, for another movie. This movie is more based on just straight corruption, and I would just say a lot of movies these days are just putting literally what really goes on in the real world in your face, and was another movie that I felt like a lot of the stuff in this movie is happening in real life, and they're just putting it in a movie so that we can chuckle with it, follow along with the cool action, and just let it fly over our heads. A lot of the stuff in this movie, I'm not surprised if it's actually really happening right now. Will Smith comes back as playing Mike. Shout out to Will Smith, because the whole performance with Will Smith, I feel like he really enjoyed his time being on set. His focus really looked like the outside world was not involved with his acting. This dude literally played his character, played his role, and I really love the connection with his partner in crime, Martin Lawrence, who plays Marcus. Will Smith did a phenomenal job in this movie. The way he connected with even his son in this movie, I thought that was very realistic, to the point where Will Smith's character dealt with a lot of stuff in the past, and now he ends up dealing with his son in the movie. So the interaction with Will Smith with a lot of these actors, you just enjoy seeing it. This is why we love watching Will Smith on the screen. I feel like this movie is bringing them back to, yo, we need more Will Smith movies, and this just fits his vibe straight up. The jokes in this movie, the action that Will Smith was a part of, fit literally hand in hand. Shout out to the directors, because the directors were making Will Smith shine. The writing made Will Smith literally just take over that, like, here's the script, Will Smith, we know that you can make this pop, and that's the vibe I got from it. The lines for Will Smith were very funny. The interaction with dealing with his family, dealing with Martin Lawrence, dealing with the bad guys, dealing with the CIA, the SWAT, all the cops, it all felt real and it all felt unique. His posture, you could see he was very dedicated. This was a movie that made me want to go back to watch the old Bad Boys movies. There's a lot of references from the old movie that bring us along to where we're at now. If you go watch this movie, you're gonna enjoy Will Smith's just whole performance. He's funny. This is what Will Smith does, and the fact that he's really good on doing those action scenes, well done. Nothing seemed very slow with the action scenes, and the camera angles did justice with him. Will Smith is just giving back to the audience, and Will Smith is just understanding who his character is. With Martin Lawrence, another reason why this movie was just as great. Martin Lawrence was just straight comedy. Martin Lawrence just look in general, there's many times in this movie where you know he's in that vibe character mode, and it just felt supernatural. The lines were just as funny. I feel like with Martin Lawrence, you're gonna laugh the most, because Martin Lawrence just is a natural goofball, and he just says natural random stuff that is just very comedy. The lines were great, so shout out to the writing for Martin Lawrence as well. It wasn't boring, the lines weren't dull. They actually spent time on the jokes with each actor, and with Martin Lawrence, they actually spent time on letting the audience know, like, hey, we're not gonna just make this an air movie. All the comedy lines hit, all the family lines hit. I would say he was my standout in this movie on just how many times he made me laugh with literally doing minimal stuff. It's like he didn't really have to try as much. Martin Lawrence was just shining in this movie. This is his movie to shine. Didn't feel forced. Hilarious how with his character you could see that years have definitely passed. They put him in random scenarios that you didn't expect, and they were just as funny, and he was serious the whole time. Made this movie stand out, made it very hilarious. Shout out to Martin Lawrence. on point. Seeing Vanessa Hudgens, she plays the character Kelly. She's maturing with her acting, and this was a movie that I feel like it was a mature role, and she understood what she was dealing with. Surprisingly, she fit with the movie. Another character, Alexander Ludwig, he plays Dorn. Really like he was a straight up, like just trying to do his job, and his interaction with the other actors and actresses was like, yo, what the heck? This is so random, but in a comedy way. His lines presented really well, even though, you know, it was minimal with him, but you could see he was part of the squad. So shout out to Alexander Ludwig, who plays the character Dorn. Jacob Scipio, who plays Armando in this movie. He's Will Smith's son. Shocker in this movie because the look was straight fierce. The look was actually very strong, dominant, and the movements on the action scenes with him were super strong, very on point, cool combat style. And you can also see that this dude is actually like grimy as well. He uses his environment, and he was a smart character in this movie. His lines were great, and his interaction dealing with Will Smith was a shocker because it didn't seem like it was an awkward thing. You know, at times you kind of feel for his character, and he fit in this movie, and he helps the movie flow very well. John Sally, I did not expect to see him when I saw him on the screen. The camera angles made him look kind of goofy with his look and his costume design, but it fit very well. Wow, shout out to John Sally being in this movie and actually doing a good job for what you had. Reggie surprised me a lot in this movie. I'm watching this movie and I'm like, is that Reggie right there? Soon as I found out that was Reggie, made me laugh. Reggie out of nowhere becomes, from the first movie, so innocent, soft-spoken, shy, and then this movie out of nowhere ends up becoming a John Wick character. Yo, where did this come from? But it was straight comedy because this dude's like playing Call of Duty in the background. Reggie waited for this moment. You don't want to spoil it too much, but shout out Reggie being back. Crazy to see Mike and Marcus's boss, the captain. Cool to see him again, and cool to see that he was part of this new movie. All the bad guys in this movie, the bad villains, the corruption villains, they were all believable. Good look, good screen time, good lines, good out of nowhere moments. Good job with casting the evil people. It didn't seem corny, it didn't seem cheesy. Ian Grufford, who plays Lockwood in here, being in here, I think that last movie that I saw him in was the Fantastic Four. Did a pretty good job. You got Tiffany Haddish in this movie, and then as soon as I saw her, I'm like, bruh. DJ Khaled is in the movie, and that was pretty comedy. The camera direction in this movie, one of those things that actually kept you more excited. The camera direction tried to feel like interactive with the audience, like as if you were playing and moving with these characters. Really like the first person perspective where you're like holding the gun, and then how the camera just switches back to the face. Good angles, good choices. This movie just showed me like there's a lot of cameras out there that you just have to be very smart on how to handle them. They knew what they were doing with the camera direction. Maybe out of 10, maybe a 3 or a 4. There was shaky cam. The shaky cam didn't last too long. Shaky cam in here is in the movie, but it's not a bother. The camera direction was a fun one. The music score in this movie, I think they did a good job in sense of like not forcing anything in this movie. So the music score in the background did fit along with the flow. With this movie being rated R, a lot of the action in here, you do see a lot of blood. A lot of these hits in this movie is going to be kind of hard for some viewers to see because with the sound effects that this movie does with the hits and the kills, they're pretty brutal. So after my watching the movie Bad Boys Ride or Die out of 10, I'm gonna have to give the movie a 9 out of 10. So that's my movie review for the movie Bad Boys Ride or Die. Shout out to you guys for tuning into the video. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace, y'all.